With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
Well, this isn't your traditional Atlanta Motor Speedway for the newer fans for NASCAR. This is the old version that me and Derek Watson are accustomed to from seeing legendary finishes here at the famed Atlanta Motor Speedway. Welcome to Race 1, Season 1 for 2024. I'm Terry Radford filling in for Dylan Coyle. Hope he feels better after his minor little surgery, I guess you would call it, Derek. Derek Watson's going to be here all season long. Been a while since we worked together, buddy. How you doing?
Doing good. It has been a while. Yeah, it's been a long time we've been together. I'm back at a legacy track, if you will, at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. As you said, not the super speedway format that you know and love today, but it'll pose its own set of challenges here for the opening round for PRL.
And we take a look at what the schedule is going to look like. Obviously, the 2008 version of Atlanta. We go to another classic track of Rockingham next week. So 2 challenging tracks to start the Cup Series schedule. Darlington, so make that 3 before we get a traditional cookie cutter type of the non-existent now Auto Club Speedway, Iowa. And well, round 6, Derek, is going to pose the biggest challenge to every driver at the Long Beach Street Circuit.
Yeah, that's going to be the question mark, right? We'll see who has the patience, and I want to know if we can fit a stock car in some of those tight, narrow spaces at the Long Beach Street Circuit. And of course, after that, we get to start the regular, quote-unquote, real-life NASCAR season, Daytona, Atlanta, the Super Speedway version, And we'll round it out by rolling dice at Vegas and see who comes out with the jackpot.
Yeah, don't adjust your screens. It is 2 Atlantas, but obviously the 2008 version, and then we go back to your what is now traditional for them with the draft package type style races. It's going to be fun to watch all season long how this progresses through. A lot of new drivers have come into this circuit as well, but, well, as always, we have to thank the people that make this possible for us all over the 2024 PRL season, and, well, no better place to start than Advanced Sim Racing. Yeah, Advanced Sim Racing, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the most sturdiest and durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. And from them to Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. They're competitively priced and carefully handcrafted. Their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. You can visit raceboxsimracing.com and get 5% off using the Precision 5 coupon code. I knew I'd screw one of those up. And then the Butt Kicker. You got Butt Kicker products. They add incredible immersion and realism to every game. You can feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat with the Butt Kicker. And if you really want to be great at everything you do, you should go check out Muradness, a performance-based lifestyle brand motivated by motorsports and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, you can go to their Twitter, their Facebook, Instagram, or go to muradness.com to get it there. And if you want to take the most incredible pictures across all sim racing, you head over to Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or in my case on Wednesday, your worst moments from your hobby, and up to 8K resolution. It is a great addition to any sim racing room, and that's mrhedge.co.uk or facebook.com/Mr. Hedge Sim Photography. And last but not least, welcome to the PRL, Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast, and be fast with Advanced Motorsports. You can follow them on their social media platforms to become a better driver. It's facebook.com/ADV Motorsports, Instagram at the _ after the V, or you can follow them on YouTube. That's a long link to click. We'll put it out there in the chat here momentarily, but qualifying is underway here at the 2008 version of the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and currently Joshua Daniels in the 77 sets the fastest time. He was fast in practice in that number 77 machine at a 30.094. Currently holds the pole by 39 one-thousandths of a second. You take a look at the 24 of Jose Medina out there on the racetrack now. He's going to come down pit lane, as, well, every one of them would do when we put it on there. And, hey, there's Brandon Fetterplace, the Battle Beaver machine. He's going to come off the racetrack as well. Well, it looks like all of our qualifying's almost done, Derek.
It really is. Remember, one of the unique things about this format compared to the open wheel or the road racing we do for PRL, it's only a couple of laps. You don't get to keep doing it. There's no open qualifying, so doesn't take that long here to complete. That's Jose Acosta on track right here. And now going to rip around here. Now, one of these we're going to see tonight, Terry, is what Jose is doing right there. We'll see a lot of guys who want to run the top of this track and find all of that grip. But the danger is, how close can you get to that wall without saying hello?
Well, I was watching a couple open sessions earlier in the week, and I watched 2 3 wide, watched guys like Michael Conti take the wall and go 3 wide in his number 5 Camaro. You take a look at what Jose Acosta is going to do. He'll rim road to get to the start-finish line, and now he'll try to go down to the bottom and see if he can make some time up here. Or at least that would seem to be what he's doing, or is he slowing down for us?
I think that's the end of his run. I think he's killing it here because that's not an optimal line. Looks to be a little slow, so I think that's just a cool-down lap. If it's not, I'm unsure. Yeah, he's
checking his pit, checking the pit road there, and, well, he almost overshot that thing. Take a look at Rafael Franco is going to come out here, new to the series, in the number 36. Good to see him. He's going to slot in the 8th place position. And, well, apparently that's the race one bug. We go to their car and they come down pit lane.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're qualifying faster than we expected. I think here's a live one here. Oh,
nope.
Session is
just
over.
kidding.
That was a live one, but the session ended on me, so that's going to be it right there. Well, qualifying is done. Only 4 cars didn't take a lap. Let's take a look at the grid, Terry.
Yeah, starting on the pole here this afternoon, Joshua Daniels in the 77. He'll be to the inside of Trent Dinkle, your defending champion. Will come into this series starting P2. James O'Brien, Pat Harvey, Waldo Walden, and Abner Acosta, your top 6.
Move back to P7 with Chris Hudson with Rafael Franco, one of our newbies on the outside. Jose Acosta and Jose Medina, all Jose, row number 5, 9th and 10th. And then Tristan Callahan and Brandon Fetter place, 11th and 12th.
Brian Dixon puts the 03 back there in unlucky number 13 with Chris Vincent, 14th. Brandon Walter, Devin Maines will be back there in 16th. Tommy Brandon in 17th. Lou Christian will be 18th.
Moving back to P19 is Jerry Turner with Park Hilliard on the outside. And then Vicente Sepulveda with Mackenzie Ruin, 21st and 22nd. And then Scotty Johnson and Luis Rodriguez, 23rd and 24th.
Clicking on back here to our final 4 starters. Bruno Mello decided not to put a lap down. Neither did Chad Kibbe, Eric Olivia. And then you have Ben Laughter back there with the OKC. A little basketball reference to him, his 28 machine. So we'll look at the tail end of the field. Everybody gets loaded into this session. Do a quick pace lap, and man, it's crazy to think we're already in 2024. Happy New Year to all the people watching on RaceSpotTV. This is race 1 for the Cup Series out of 9.
Yeah, that's
got
right.
A long
a
season.
New format this year. In fact,
Yeah.
The 9 race system. They took the 10th race out. It becomes a preseason race that happened actually before Christmas, unbroadcasted. So these drivers have had 1 race with each other, but now it's a 9 race format. So mistakes mean even a little bit more than they did in a 10 race format.
Yeah, actually, thinking about that one is you have less wiggle room. Obviously, with that 10th race, you had a chance to make up that race. I don't believe the drop week followed along as well. I'll have to get clarification on that from our insider source here that's in the booth with us. But you talked about not being able to make the certain mistakes. If you look at your top 10 right now, all but I believe 2 of them are series regulars that came back from last season to this season.
Yeah, so you're starting to see just that natural comfort of the cars right now, and what's going to be a very different schedule. This is sort of that off-season NASCAR schedule that iRacing does. It's very different. So I think we'll see some different names sort in and out of this top 10 as the weeks go on. Of course, with Iowa, Darlington Auto Club, Long Beach, as you said during that opening segment there. But we're about to go green. Let's see how old Atlanta treats these drivers.
Well, we'll get to the bumpiness and the slipping and sliding here. Pace car comes down and in. Joshua Daniels, Trent Dinkle will take it to the green flag. And for race number 1, we're green in the PRL Cup Series. So far, so good through turns 1 and 2. The outside lane seemed to be the place to go as James O'Brien was able to slide up in front of Trent Dinkle. Pat Harvey still sits in that 4th place position. And, well, no surprise, Abner Acosta, the number 5, the first driver to try to take it too wide. He'll clear himself to 4th as we complete lap 1.
Well, 1 lap complete here out of 140 or 90 minutes, whichever happens first. Laps will happen pretty quick here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, so if we stay green, we'll be well ahead of schedule of those 90 minutes, so we'll wait and see how that goes here. But look at this right now. Everyone's sort of riding that top side, at least a lot of people here. Not yet, but they will be, I guess. And now almost everyone on the bottom for now. Here's a couple back 2-3 wide back in the field, Terry.
Yeah, the mid-pack's going to be really the place to keep an eye out for, as everybody wants to get track position. You take a look at Luis Rodriguez in the number 7. Got his Ford getting ready to climb through this field. He's sitting a little bit further back than where he wants to be sitting, about the 19th position. So not a great start for the season and qualifying aspects of it. We'll see how the race progresses for him. There's a look at Waldo Walden holding that 5th place position. Abner Acosta just set the fastest time, and well, he drove through a couple positions. He was up 3 from where he initially started, up to that 3rd place position, starting 6th. And now him and his teammate of Trent Dinkle trying to work that bottom lane as Waldo Walden in the 84. He's going to work down the back straightaway, but look at Abner. I think he's burning it up too soon here. He's made a lot of quick passes from the outside to the inside.
He could be burning it up. That's definitely a possibility. This is, of course, as you see from this camera view here, the onboard with Waldo Walden. This is the bumpy track. Now, it's a little bit of a hotter track right now, 107 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not the hottest I've seen in Atlanta. We call it Hot Atlanta for a reason. But, yeah, I mean, Abner could be burning up those tires and just hoping that maybe a quick caution comes out and you kind of get to take care of that. But, yeah, who knows? I mean, so, you know, the funny thing is we talked about this. This isn't the draft package. This isn't new Atlanta. But even old Atlanta has a tingle of a requirement of drafting to it if you want to be successful here.
Yeah, and you got to think of the old style of car we had with the Gen 6 car not too long ago before the next gen. We never saw the next gen car on this configuration of the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We only saw the draft port of it, the super speedway-esque style track. But you're right, there is some draft factor into this one. But if you take a line out of Kevin Harvick's book, you're able to ride that bottom lane. Take a look at Jose Medina. He's in a hornet's nest back here, just a little further on back than where he wants to be outside that top 10. But he's got Brandon Betterplace, Tristan Callahan, Gary Turner. There is a ton of drivers right here, and it looks to me that not a lot of them can even hold the bottom lane, much less make the corner as the air starts to disturb on the front end of their cars.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of that will have to do with the setups in these cars, because this is one of the leagues in PRL where it is an open setup format. That was a big hot topic at the end of 2023, whether or not the Cups would move back to fixed setups, and of course the answer was determined to be no. So you can kind of tell maybe who's had a chance to dial it in here a little bit and who hasn't, based on the comfort in those cars, or maybe some of these setups are more of a long run car and less of a short run car.
Yeah, and one of the other big stories coming out of it is Trent Dinkle in the private label team Hype Crew. They were running EPI setups that was built by Team Conti. Now they're built by North Force. So there's a little bit of a different aspect when it comes to what Trent's going to do. You see currently in the early going of this race, Abner's a little bit faster. You got James O'Brien's just a little bit faster. And lo and behold, the driver that came on pretty strong last season and the end of 2 seasons ago was Joshua Daniels. He's worked his way in from the pole, led every lap as we go back just a little bit further to the 9th place position. This is that massive hornet's nest we talked about for the battle for the top 10 position. You've got Hudson, Maines, Turner, Callahan, Franco, Vincent. They're 2 by 2, and they haven't stopped. Oh, the 22 popped the wall, Gary Turner.
Yeah, popped the wall and did a great job at not letting that pop of the wall bouncing back across traffic. That's just one of those tracks where it feels like at Atlanta where you hit the wall, Terry, and this wants to kind of throw you back pinball style. And one wall hit here can really just, create a lot of calamity. I was talking about 2 types of walls in iRacing. There's the huggers and the bouncers. And Atlanta, I think, in my experience, is one of those bouncer wall types.
Yeah, and you got to think with the next-gen body style, more of the composite style that we saw from the Xfinity Series about 2013, 2014, when they introduced it into the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And, well, Gary Turner in the 22 was quick to find out that this could take just a little bit more damage than what the other cars would on the iRacing platform. He'll hold on to that 8th place position. He'll hold it over the 76 of Tristan Callahan, and he rides right back down to the bottom. The battle for the race lead starting to heat up. There goes the 5. He goes all the way to the wall, and he's going to make that pass, and he'll make it look effortless as he gets around the 77. And now the bottlenecks for second. Here comes James O'Brien, Trent Dinkle. There's Waldo Walden and Jose Acosta, the guy that we wasn't expecting to see necessarily on the oval side of things be fast. He's working his way to a top 5 position.
Yes, new year, same result. Abner Acosta leads the lap in the PRL Cup Series. You talk to Abner from time to time, and I enjoy talking to Abner. Just a real calm guy, knows his talents, but doesn't ever really come across as snotty or snobby about it. Very open, willing to help people to ask, and works hard within his team as well. You never hear, him or Trent or the others say, "Oh no, like we have to work ourselves." They talk all like, "Hey, we work together, we calm each other down." That's what one of the great values of private label team hype. Part of me is how much they work together.
Yeah, you have to do a lot of practice. I've learned that over going into running the Xfinity Series that's live here on RaceSpot, and roughly about the Eastern Standard Time. Oh, sorry, it is the NASCAR Grand National Series, not the other series that I named it as. I forgot that they have gotten strict about that now, the Grand National side of things, and learning that one as well. But a lot of practice has to go into it, a lot of dedication, and you see the strength in numbers when it comes to private label team hype. To carry on what you were talking about, is we'll take a look at a replay here. There's the replay of the lead change from Abner Acosta. He did exactly what you thought we would see, Derek. Outside lane, progress, carry the momentum, and able to roll that outside to go down the back straightaway and carry it. But the team aspect here, there is strength in numbers, and right now the fastest three are your top three. Don't count out Daniels. Our buddy Nick Hunter was quick to remind us of that. Don't count the 77 out. But this is going to be a good show to the end as Daniels goes to the middle lane. He's going to make the move.
Yeah, you're right. That move that Abner made, and the reason why more people don't make it, I think, Terry, is because there's the fear of being up in that top lane of, what if I wiggle it loose? What if I do what Jerry Hunter did and I smack the wall and then I bounce back down, or I damage the car, or the 104 what ifs you can come up with in that moment. But yeah, Abner went up there, found the grip, made the pass, and then got back down. You can't ride up there forever alone, however, because as we said, the draft does matter here. But now Joshua Daniels going to do the same thing, rides it up out the top, out of two, gets a lot of draft help down the back straight, and will probably pass Abner Acosta here right now in the corner.
Yeah, he gets to the outside in turns 3 and 4. He'll make the pass happen again, and our second lead change of the night goes back to the pole sitter. So only 2 leaders so far through 18 laps, and there's a lot of differing strategies throughout this field. We got guys like Bruno Mello, all the way back there in the 22nd position. Brian Dixon, who I thought coming into this race based off of practice speed was going to be up front. He's running about 17th. You got tire conservation mode. That is in fruition in this race as well. It's a battle of attrition as you take a look at Gary Turner, who did hit the wall a little bit earlier, still holding on to an 8th place position. You've got drivers like Pat Harvey, Tommy Brandon, who has come through a little bit of traffic to get up through the field. We'll go on board here with the, I believe that is still the 22. He's seeing all of it around here. He sees 3 different distinct grooves that are being used, and something we're not accustomed to seeing over the past couple seasons in this series because, well, we've run the restrictor plate side of the racetrack. So good to see this one being used. And look at him. He's straddling the line and is able to hold on there as more cars get into the wall. It looks like Waldo Walden actually hit it there.
Yeah, he did indeed. The reason why we're seeing these different grooves come into play in different racing, of course, we're, maybe a month into the first phase of the iRacing Oval refresh. Some small changes being made in how the oval track progresses, and the grooves and the lines and the tire heating. So over time, we're going to see some different racing than maybe what we were used to due to that part as well. Not just the different track, as they're side by side here out of the corner. And Abner, that's James O'Brien right there. Sorry, that's, yeah, Abner and James O'Brien really close. And that's Jose Acosta. Here's a fun note, Terry. Abner and Jose are brothers. Tonight, they're about 6 inches apart in real life, racing each other. They're in the same room racing tonight.
Well, glad to see that the internet connectivity is able to hold up. I hope they have very strong servers to bounce off of, and clearly being that close to one another, some of the talent from Abner has rubbed off on his brother, who has progressively gotten better in these races, and He came on a little strong, had a top 3 finish at Charlotte a couple seasons ago, was able to work his way up there as Trent Dinkle got loose off the exit of turn 2, almost spun himself, but was able to collect it back up. James O'Brien actually got the worst of it because he surprisingly had to check up a lot harder than what I think he was wanting to. But go back to the teammate aspect of it, Derek. They're in the Discord together. I'm sure he was like, hey, I'm getting loose, checked up, and now he's under attack for that 3rd place position as here comes Abner and Jose trying to challenge for that position on the 33.
Yeah, so that will happen here. Now, what's going to cause them to check up is a couple of things. One, we're about 23 laps into this race, and what we've seen to be an abrasive racetrack. So you're going to feel some tire wear at this point in the race. It's not going to be as smooth and comfortable as maybe it once was on lap 1. We'll see more and more cars get tight in these corners, some of them, or some will get loose depending upon your setup, and we'll see them get really wide in a corner. And that'll be it. Let's look at Rafael Franco here, a native of Brazil in that 36 car. One of our new names to the Cup season this season, and riding pretty well here. You know, as I look at the back of the field, there are some big names in the back of the field that maybe you don't think would be back there. Mackenzie Roon, you know, Bruno Mello you mentioned earlier, Lou Christian's all the way back there. I wonder if some drivers are taking the super speedway strategy of, listen, we're all bunched up here. If a wreck happens, it's going to be massive. Let me lay back and see if I can, you know, avoid what could potentially be the big one here.
Well, and I want to touch on that just a little bit because something we were thinking about when it came into tire run versus fuel run, right? And the tires are going to wear out a lot faster than we're going to burn through the fuel. But you just hit the nail on the head when it came to the pack style of racing and the wrecks potentially being massive. Our tires are not good anymore. They're starting to get some heat in them. You're starting to burn the rubber off, and you can see that from about Lou Christian, who's currently sitting in the 20th position, about 16th on back, has kind of broken away. They're in their own little pack. They're 2x2. You have one car out there leading it. I believe that's Park Hilliard. That's right in the front of this one. Everybody else has separated it. The track temp's 108. And if you've never felt 108 degrees on asphalt, then by the way, there is also the new update to iRacing, where the dynamic track, you have the changing track that if you see cloud cover in turns 1 and 2, the temperature will drop. 3 and 4 will be a lot hotter if the sun's beating on it, but it takes the average of the racetrack from one end to the other, and that's what clarifies what your track temp will be. But right now, Derek, it is all sunlight all the way around this track as we go on board right here. I believe that's Chris Hudson. He's got his hair slicked back this time, and he's got the onboard cam and the back view cam.
Yeah, he's got the new look, right? We've seen the back view cam before. I think he does his own. I don't know if he does it live or records it to watch, just post it later, but I've seen that before from Chris, but that's a different look. I was surprised when we saw him at first. That's not the hairdo I remember, but you see Chris there with the massive monitors here. And now doing pretty well here on track. Just kind of said waiting for things to happen in that number 13 machine. You know, as we look at that pack you mentioned though, Terry, what stood out to me is that when you're racing 2 and 3 wide, usually that pack is going to lose time on leaders as they are. If they could get more organized and maybe only be 2 wide and in line, maybe they could gain time. I don't know, but if they're going to keep racing that way, they are going to continue to fall back. We'll see Brandon Walter here in the Chevy, number 99, the old Carl Edwards number.
Yeah, that's actually
Jeff Burton number.
A lot of 99s going around. That it's funny that you actually mention that when you talk about the side-by-side aspect of this one, and it's something that Nick Hunter put in there. We were talking about the track temperature changing. If you're not running the outside lane, there's no rubber being put down. You have to go clean it yourself. You might be a little loose when you go up there at the initial start of the run, but if you start to wear it in, it'll start to heat up. It's you see right here, Tristan Callahan running a little bit close there to Pat Harvey in the 67. That fight for the 10th place position, it has not slowed down since we dropped the green flag 31 laps ago, or well, if you would say what we've been doing this about 20 or so minutes. and they've broken into 3 distinctive packs now. You have your lead top 7 or top 8, and then 9th on back falls in, and then about 16th on back falls into their own category as well. There's a lot of different strategies being played, and green flag pit stops potentially could be on the horizon as well, because drivers are going to need tires. These 18-inch tires on these next-gen cars, they're only going to hold up for so long.
Yeah, they're going to hold up for so long indeed. So you start to play that math in your head of what do you want to do. Do you want to try and run it for fuel and hope you can just deal with the tires, and maybe you wait for that caution that someone else causes? Do you go for 70? Do you try to break it into thirds and do the math and realize you want to pit about every 50 laps, in which case you're about 18 laps away? Yeah, you have to start to figure out what's the most efficient way to do this, because obviously if you pit too often you'll put yourself out of the running here, but it's a big math problem with lap times and what ifs. But how many times in the past couple seasons have we seen the first person pit and the caution comes out and then they get stuck 1 or more laps down?
I'll save the math for the smarter people in this world. I don't think anybody wants a Tennessean ever trying to figure out a math equation. I pit when everybody else tells me to pit, but I would think from the racer aspect of it that you would want to come down thinking if a caution's going to come out, you can kind of short pit it there, right? If you see somebody's extremely loose or driving it right on the razor's edge, you might come down, take that little bit of a stop and hope that it comes out while you're on pit lane. But I think on the latter, what you said in the first one, pitting every 50 to 55 might get you the winning move. Or potentially, if you're one of the drivers that's in that third pack, well, you might say, I've saved all the tire in the world. I can go just a little bit further. Battle for the race leads on. Defending champion Trent Dinkle under attack by the 77 of Joshua Daniels, your pole sitter. Still fighting 2 by 2 here as Dinkle's out to the outside.
The alternate way, looking at what you just said, though, the way I think that some people look at it is, if I see someone else getting wicked loose in their car because their tires are wearing out, I'm more motivated to stay out there. Oh my goodness, Trent Dinkle almost painted the wall there with the outside of that car. But if I see someone else getting loose in their car, I'm now more motivated to stay out, because I start to convince myself, listen, they got so loose in 1 and 2, or they got so loose in 3 and 4, there's no way we can't have a caution next 5 laps. And you start to talk yourself into it, and then, it kind of motivates you to stay out so you don't be that car who gets trapped.
I just asked myself, what would I do for a Klondike bar? And I'll figure it out from there. But the battle for the race lead is truly the hottest ticket in the PRL right now, because this is what we should see all season long. Barring the one road course we have at Long Beach at round 6 before we get into the actual NASCAR iRacing schedule from Daytona all the way down to Las Vegas, we expect to see the 77, the 9, the 5, the 30, the 42 up front battling for wins week in and week out. Now, granted, once we get to Long Beach, who are we going to see step up? Who's the road course ace? Well, that would be the 5 of Abner Acosta. So if you're any of these drivers that's currently riding in the lead, case in point Trent Dinkle, who's sitting there, and I can't tell who he's a fan of. I'm not sure if he's a Chase Elliott fan or potentially an Alex Bowman fan. It looks pretty good for the Napa Chevrolet back there. The 2021 champion, I do believe, or the 2020 champ. One of the champs. I can't remember what year he won it in, but he's obviously there. And something happened there to the 77. He's about 3/10 off now. Must have slid. He was battling Abner Acosta there for that second place position.
Yeah, great job here by Trent to get out here and take the lead. And it's no surprise, Trent is a familiar face to being up in the lead here in the PRL Cup Series. They got that calm, stoic face. What I admire most about Trent in a lot of ways is that you can see that camera all night long when he's in a big, tight battle, 2 and 3 wide, or whether he's just out here racing and leading the pack. And it's the most stoic, calm look you can have for a race car driver. Myself included, there are many drivers who don't look that calm at any point in a race.
I'm pretty sure if you ask any of the Whataback drivers, or now when Regan Bogue, Development Motorsports, I'm never that calm. I behind the push to talk button, I'm a little bit meaner. But you take a look here now, here comes Abner Acosta. He was one of our 3 race leaders in the early going of this race. Now he's battling his teammate, Trent Dinkle. They made a little contact right there. I'm not sure the boss man wants that to happen as Dinkle goes all the way to the wall. Abner's going to try to slide up in front. He'll get the position. Does the crossover move happen? No, he left him a lane. Oh, more contact down the back straightaway.
Wow, lots of contact happening here. And that's what I admire as well about this team. There's no team orders. There's no, anything going on. But right now we got our first pit stops happening. That's Joshua Daniels. He has announced that he is pitting, and he is our first taker of pit road service on lap 41. This is a little earlier than what I thought we would see mathematically.
So, okay, now let's do the math here. So if you think of 40, if he goes 40 again, that puts him at 80. 40 more past that's going to put him at what? That's 120. So he's 20 laps short. Towards the end of this one, he's going to have to extend a stint to 50 and 50 to put himself at the 140 mark with 2 laps to spare, barring if we have a green-white checkered attempt based off of the time of the 90 minutes. You take a look at your top 4 now. Now you see your top 5 because Tommy Brandon in the 11 has tailed on to the back of this one, just back there biding his time. You got to go 1.3 seconds back before you get to Chris Hudson in the 43. But Abner, Trent Dinkle, James O'Brien, Jose Acosta, Tommy Brandon, and then you see your 2 stragglers back there of Hudson and Waldo Walden. Gonna drop the dime. Who comes down pit lane next? Because these drivers now, by the way, they have to call it on the back straightaway to get to pit lane here at Atlanta. So your commitment line is technically the middle of the back straightaway. Normally, what happened a couple seasons ago, and even last season, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, you did not have to call if you were coming to pit lane. It was a courteous call. You didn't have to actually do it, but a rule change was in effect that you now have to commit that you're coming down to the pit lane and you have to call it. And if you don't, I believe it is now a penalty.
Yeah, so there's some new rule changes this year. We should talk about those later, but that announcement, can help you form a strategy by what your opponents are doing. But what that tells me, though, is that, for Joshua Daniels, apparently that car was at the brink of where he wanted it to be handling-wise, or he feels that the lap time fall-off is just so big that he can make up this time here. But you're right, the problem I have with that stop here is the mathematical equation that you got correct, which is 40, 80, 120. There's an extra 20-lap stint you have to figure out somewhere on what you're going to do. So we'll see how it plays out right now. Of course, Joshua Daniels for now will be scored a lap down. And he's not even yes, he is the first car lap down. I apologize. So we'll take a look there. Here's an onboard here. This is James O'Brien, I believe, as we're looking back onto. You see that's Jose Acosta racing in front of him here with Trent Dinkle.
You think about what happened just a little while ago to 33. We watched him get loose off the 4, almost tagged the wall, then caught the grass. If you think back a couple years ago when this race was rained out, or Texas actually, when Dale Jr. caught the grass, it tore the front splitter off. Here in iRacing, the grass is absolutely the worst thing you can touch in one of these stock cars because it takes all mechanical grip away from the front end of these cars, especially in the next gen. It is not your friend. Reminds me of Finding Nemo. Fish are friends, not food. And now the 33. He's going to come down pit lane and mark this down because if it puts him currently, it'll be lap 48 when they cross the line when he's on pit lane. By the time he comes back around to be lap 49, he will be technically 1 lap short to make it on the 50-50-40 stage mark that you'll have there. So we'll see as the strategies do come to fruition here, as Jose Acosta got around Trent Dinkle. That puts the Acosta brothers 1-2, but it's a tune of 1.8 seconds. The tire wizard, as everybody calls him, as Trent Dinkle comes down pit lane, holds the race lead. And does the long game work, Derek, or does the short game work? Because we've got 3 takers on pit lane.
We're about to have more. I know Lou Christian, Brandon Walter have announced their intentions to pit this time. So I think that 50-50-40 play. Here comes Abner as well. I believe Abner Acosta will be down pit road from the lead this time by. So that apparently for some drivers at least appears to be the popular choice. Here's Abner, just watching Get down here. All looks good speed-wise. Good job. No speeding. Might smoke out of the tires, but nothing to write home about.
Nothing too wild as you take a look right here. Chad Kibbe in the Michael Jordan paint scheme on that Toyota, our number 23. Driving through here. Now we have 2 basketball themed cars in here between Jordan from the Bulls and I guess we can consider his time with the Magic worthwhile. And you got the OKC Thunder, who aren't doing too hot this year in their season.
Time with the Magic? You mean the Hornets?
Jordan was with he was the Charlotte Hornets. You know what? It's years ago. You're right, the Hornets. I was thinking Shaq with the Magic. Either way, 2 basketball themed cars out here, getting ready to hold serve and hold battle. Currently at the moment, if you're tallying that one up in the NBA side of things, Chad Kibbe, Jordan doing what Jordan always does.
Yeah, certainly indeed. You know, whenever I see that car, I know it has the Jordan logo on front of it. So now I see Jose Acosta come down pit road here. Whenever I see that car, though, all I can think of is with those squiggles on the side. Is that like how, like in the road course side, when companies are debuting new prototypes, they do those weird paint schemes to try to hide the features of the car and make it sort of a visual, like a puzzle, not like a mind meld or whatever you call those things. But yeah.
Penalty.
Now,
penalty for the 78, Bruno Mello. Unsafe pit entry. So for the driver who was sitting just a little further back, he's not going to get any type of jump on it, as he's going to have to come back down pit lane. As you take a look at Tommy Brandon, the number 11, that is a very awesome looking sim set with the computer sitting next to him, changing all different colors. That looks like a water-cooled PC as well, and it looks like the triple monitors are set up for him, and he's up on that wheel. Is that a Fanatec wheel?
I believe it is a Fanatec one. You're right, he is up on that wheel, isn't it? Just the PC case, by the way, just the 2 colors. Looks like from the camera shot, maybe like a blue and a white or a blue and a silver is all that PC case is doing. Sort of different from your typical RGB color pattern you would see elsewhere. Tommy right now has been running pretty well throughout the night, currently 12th in line and moving up here due to the pit stop. So now I think we're starting to see some different strategies play out, Terry. Luis Rodriguez, Mackenzie Roon, Brian Dixon, Joshua Daniels. Well, actually, Daniels already pitted, so we're going to start to see some different names here, maybe who are now going to try that 70-70 and see what comes of it. Now, they're going to lose some time right now because, you know, Acosta and Daniels and the others are going to run them down. But if they can cut one whole pit stop out of this run, assuming we stay green, that's where the math comes in. What do you gain by only pitting once?
Will be the question to be asked. We'll ask the fans out there that are watching. I see Colton Lane, Jacob Emery, Matt Schaefer, Dalton's watching as well. Take a look at Pat Harvey's on board. He always has the door open. Definitely throws me off that the one door in his shot, kind of like Lou Christian of the world's smallest staircase, is there. Tommy Brandon just set the fastest lap not too long ago on those fresh tires. I believe he might have had some draft back there, but you saw the way he was driving his car in that 9th place position, was up on the wheel and was learning everything that the car was doing. As the run progressed, you start to see the lane itself has starting to darken up just a little bit as Luis Rodriguez, Brian Dixon have not come down. They're the only 2 drivers who have stayed out here on this 56 long run that we've had. No cautions this far. If you're just joining us, I'm Terry Radford. Derek Watson joining me here. He'll be here all season long covering this series. When Dylan Coyle gets back, should be week 3. We'll see the man, the myth, the legend come back as Brian Dixon of the 03 is going to take his pit stop, and now it's an 18-second lead for the number 7 of Luis Rodriguez over Joshua Daniels. And you would imagine, Derek, that Luis is either praying for a caution or kind of hoping what the strategy you were talking about, that he has the long game towards the end and is able to make passes.
I think the praying for a caution happens in a few laps from now. If the caution happens right now, I mean, some of those drivers are 10 laps into a run. I don't know that you could convince all of them. I don't know if you could convince Daniels and Acosta and Dinkel and O'Brien to all come down with you right now They just pitted 10 laps ago in their head. Maybe they don't need to pit again. So if you're Luis, I think you're waiting for it to stay green under 10 laps and then let it go yellow and everyone comes down with you. If it goes yellow right now, I think those drivers would stay out and he would lose all of that track position he has worked so hard to gain. Now the question to keep in mind and the idea to keep in mind as well though is look at that ticker in the top left of your screen between Rodriguez and Daniels and see how fast it decreases. Obviously it's going to, because Daniels has the new tires. He's going to run down Rodriguez, but at what pace? That'll help us determine how valuable new tires are right now and how valuable that extra pit stop could be for these drivers. And by the way, we are race 1 2024, and I'm going to say it. I'm going to be the Tony Romo of Race Spot Cups, PRL Cup Series right here. I'm going to jinx it. We're almost halfway in our first race without a yellow. It's just fun to see. There's a lot of driving, a lot of holding onto a car, probably a lot of loose cars if you check those driver cameras and see how much they're wiggling that wheel. But we're having a very clean race so far.
Well, and if you look at last lap comparisons here, the last lap for our race leader in the 7, as we have him up on the screen, drivers are getting their laps back to him at the current time. It was a 32.767 for the number 7 machine. It was a 31.7, so a full second difference between leader and second place. 0.2 faster is Abner Acosta, Trent Dinkel. James O'Brien, on the other hand, he's about 1.5 faster than the 2 in front of him. And Tommy Brandon, well, he's 0.3 seconds, is perfectly in the catbird seat to go up. He pitted 10 laps ago, but think about it. You talked about a caution being Lewis's friend at the moment. If you're pulling anybody down pit lane, you would imagine to be the 77 of Joshua Daniels. 20 laps he's on this run. He pitted 8 laps ahead of the rest of the field, 7 laps ahead of Trent Dinkel. And for Abner Acosta, who went that 2 extra laps, it played perfect. He actually stayed ahead of the number 9 machine. Granted, it's only 0.3 seconds, Derek, but he still has the only opportunity at this moment to climb back up if a caution was to come out and potentially not lose any time frame. As you take a look at the world's smallest staircase, Lou Christian there in that 21 machine. Looks like, did he get a new seat? I hope he watches this and answers that, because
I think that is a new seat.
That's a play seat. I didn't think he had the white play seat there the last time.
And I'm going to go deeper. That's a new flannel shirt.
It is a new flannel shirt. Yeah, it's definitely new. Maybe he heard I was calling it and put orange on for the first time.
Maybe so. So let's talk about the opposite end of that, hoping for a caution, by the way. There are a set of drivers. Let's talk it through real quick. Chris Vincent, Chad Kibbe, Park Hilliard, Brandon Fetterplace, Scotty Johnson, Devin Maines, who are all a lap down right now. They are the drivers begging for there not to be a caution, because inevitably someone's going to stay out if the caution happens. Someone's going to push their luck, and those drivers would likely be trapped a lap down. Now that lap down number is decreasing quickly, by them getting around Daniels, but inevitably, if you are a lap down, you don't want that caution to come out until you get around the leader. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck a lap down, and that's no fun having to fight your way through that here. But at lap 65, now I have to think, is the lead change is about to happen or soon.
Well, Luis Rodriguez just came down pit lane for the first time. Yeah, 64 laps into the run, and this would be the fun part. 64 plus 64 is 128.
Oh my goodness, you got that right.
I got it, 128. So if you think about the short run aspect of it, right? So say he's able to go 64 more laps, which we do believe that is possible. He comes back down pit lane. He has 20 laps then to make up some run. He's now sitting outside the top 23. So he's going to have to drive his butt off to get to wherever he can get and station himself there. And I'm not going to say he should be praying for a caution, but once he gets back on the lead lap, he's going to then have to hope that he's good to go towards the end. And he did not lose a lap there. That was very close for him to go in. So now he's going to have to hope that he can make as much time up as possible, Derek, to put himself in a good position to get a caution, bank on something, or pray this race stays green, because now that's the box he's in.
Yeah, staying green, I think for him is optimally the right thing, because those time gaps you called off 10, 15 laps ago of, you know, a second faster, half a second faster, whatever they were. Now those will begin to happen for Luis in a little bit, where now he'll be faster than the field and able to claw his way back. We'll take a look at that, keep an eye on it. This is Park Hilliard right now in that 2 car, racing pretty hard here with Chad Kibbe in that Nike machine. That's pretty obviously easy to see across the track no matter where you are. And this is a battle back here and towards the middle of the pack. So this is probably one of our closer battles at the moment as the race is going on, but we're now working lap 68 of 140 here at Atlanta. I'm going to ask you, Terry, do you have a favorite, I'm going to say Atlanta Motor Speedway, I'm going to say classic or traditional Atlanta Motor Speedway memory?
Well, I mean, I'm sure everybody's favorite memory might be the 2001 race between Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon, battle to the line right after Dale Earnhardt passed away. But I would actually go a year before that with Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte. That one was really good. Or you could take it all the way back to when Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson had their legendary fight here, and that began the rivalry, I believe, in 2011 between those two, where Jeff made the famous comment at Talladega that the 48 was testing his patience.
So for me, it's got to be, I think it was 2003, when Carl Edwards is just ripping the outside of the track and running down the 48 at the end of the race. Just watching a car really rip the outside for the first time and getting it loose and holding on to it, that was not as common as it may be now. And so watching him do that and run down the 48, and I think even passing him at one point, that's a memory that sticks out to me. There's been a many over time. This track has served, you know, back during the Ryan Newman success tour of 2002. This is one of those tracks he won at, with the magic of fuel-saving foot that everyone kind of remembers from that era of NASCAR. And so this is a track that's really posed a lot of memories over time here. And I'm sure many more memories will be made in the current iteration with the restrictor plate package.
Well, it's funny you actually brought up the Carl Edwards race, because I remember where I was at watching Carl Edwards win his first race ever in the Cup Series here at Atlanta. Me and my mom, who I believe she is still watching, she was texting me how we were doing over the cell phone, and we were sitting in Pulaski, Tennessee. We lived in a house that eventually caught fire a couple months later, but we were sitting there watching it, and we both pointed out that Carl Edwards was riding that outside lane and by inches gets Jimmy Johnson to the line, and we watched him do the backflip for the first time, and I think everybody was in awe that he was able to win what then was the Busch Series race on Saturday, come into the number 99 Scott's Ford, which was then the Taurus, and get the race win the very next day. So that was intriguing.
My memory of that race is sort of the same but different, and we'll come back to this race in a moment. This was back in a time when you could use a when TV channels put out an audio stream like via almost like a radio receiver, and I was on a road trip, and was able to pick up the local Fox station via a radio transmitter and do audio only and listen to the last 30 laps of the race while on the road, and just listening to the Fox commentators lose their mind over the lines that Carl Edwards was taking. So great memories there, but more to be made here as we're lap 75, more than halfway through. Thanks for hanging out here on RaceSpotTV for week 1 of the Cup Series. We've had a couple PR races, Terry, this past week, but it's sort of debut week. It's tonight is the PRL Cup Series. Tomorrow night is the Monday night road course stuff with the prototypes. The GT3s on Tuesday, and then we'll get back around to week 2 on Wednesday. The Grand Nationals and the trucks, and then the F4 series rounds us out on Thursdays.
Yeah, and I would love to say that I was actually going to be running Wednesday night, but I have a work commitment that's going to take me to Charlotte, North Carolina this Wednesday, so I will miss out on the Indianapolis, or the Brickyard as we call it on iRacing now. I'll miss out on that one as Abner Acosta has taken the race lead from the 77 to Joshua Daniels here. no surprise. We'll take a little bit of a replay back. This is going to be, I believe that is Brandon Fetter placed in the 34, and it is in the Battle Beaver number 34. He got wicked loose, and you see it there. What a save. He caught the grass, off-roaded it, got it back up, and somehow locked it down on the front stretch to keep that thing from bringing out caution number 1. So we stay green, 77 laps in. We said there, the 5 of Abner on tires, 27 lap old tires. He is a 1 lap fresher than most of the field. Tommy Brandon, we talked about him a little while ago in the number 11. He is on 26 lap old tires. So we're going to see. You asked the question a little bit earlier. What tire strategy was going to play dividends towards the end of this race? Lo and behold, 1 lap has made all the difference because Tommy is running 32 O's in traffic, 31 9s for our race leader, no traffic. So I'd imagine to see what the rest of this field can do once they go into their own progressions. You take a look at the number 9, Trent Dinkle. He's looking under underneath the 77. He'll make that pass, and not so fast. Oh, he slid up right in front of Josh there, and that almost got big. That's the second time we've seen the 9 make close calls.
Yeah, different people each time, but really getting tight there in that moment of, and that's the way that some people think a high-skilled driver works in iRacing, is be able to squeeze the car in and have the confidence in knowing where you can and can't put it. And that's sometimes just the difference between a driver who's been on the service for a long time and a driver who's new, who thinks you need a whole boatload of space to put a car in somewhere. And after a certain amount of experience, you just know where the car fits. You see our onboard differentials here for Abner Acosta, leader, and Trent Dinkle, who's 0.7-ish seconds back. You can see the live lap times and other factors there on the screen, so you can see it live. One of our new features here for 2024 for RaceSpot. And now again, Acosta leads another lap here in the PRL Cup Series.
No surprise to see these two, right, sitting up top and being at the top of the leaderboard. So either way, we have some differing strategy coming in here. Mr. Laughter pitted 33 laps into a stint. So potentially now we're looking at somebody cut it right down the middle. They pitted lap 55-ish. 33 laps later, they came back down pit lane to put themselves towards the end. That way they do not have to make another pit stop anymore. It's it. So who short pits here? Because technically, Derek, if you wanted to pit now, if my math is correct, with 60 more laps, you can make it as of lap 80.
You could, but the battle you face by every lap you shortcut it is it's 1 extra lap you're dealing with the end of a race on older tires. A lot of drivers want to put themselves in a great spot at the end and want to have the best possible final lap. So you really want to stretch this run out longer and maybe only have a 40 lap run at the end. Yeah, it's going to suffer right now, but there's that mentality and that driver feeling of the car being awesome at the end to be able to run people down that will be the desire for a lot of drivers here. So we'll see how it plays out, but I agree with you. The pit lane or the pit window is open, so someone could try to do it from here if they wanted to. Now the story I've been tracking, by the way, and you can see it on your ticker on the left side of your screen as it scrolls through, Luis Rodriguez is slowly running back down the field. He's got it down to 16 seconds here from the leader, and now down to 15.7. He is running them down as we see Luke Christian here on screen. So keep an eye on your ticker on the left side of your screen for Luis Rodriguez and how far back he is. He is closing that gap pretty quickly with those newer tires.
Yeah, based off of what he is to the race leader, it's 14.664 seconds. Currently sitting in that 11th place position, but he is closing. He is on 19 lap old tires, and he is no slouch compared to the iRacing world. Currently sitting there at a 4,200 I rating, as you saw there. Caught the wall. Was that, I believe that was the number 21 of Luke Christian catching the wall. He's right there with Pat Harvey, right there with Jose Acosta, all for that 7th, 8th, and 9th place position, respectively, on the racetrack. That could have been big.
that could have been the great equalizer. That could have killed every conversation we've been having for the past 10 minutes, because with the pit window opening, meaning right now you could pit and be good, at least for gas for the end of the way, that would have killed. Man, he tagged the wall again, Terry. He's having a hard time out there. Now he's going to try the bottom. Now he's determined that maybe that's not the way to work it out. Look, track temp is raising. We're now to 110. That's at least, I think, 3 degrees higher than what it was when we looked at it earlier. So Lou's having a hard time on that wall. And now Jose Acosta's all over his back bumper. That's not going to help anything.
No, if you're loose already, the driver coming to your back bumper, especially with the rear diffuser, right? The rear diffuser here makes a big difference of the air being taken off of the car. We talked about tires. They have a tire limit of 5. We've only went through 1 set as we currently sit, right? So with it being 1 p.m. sim time, that's obviously Eastern time since we are in the ATL, you have more tires to spare. It's in the hottest part of what you would then see here in Atlanta. I would be in Savannah. It gets a lot hotter in the metropolitan area of here. But Hampton, Georgia is shockingly well away from downtown Atlanta. I've been to the racetrack 2 or 3 times, and it's a bit of a hike to get around there. You take a look at the 13, he is not racing for position. So he's racing around these drivers for this battle, not racing anybody for the spot. He is currently a lap down, so you could pay mind to him, but he's going to be extremely faster. He did come down pit lane. You take a look now at your 5th place driver, that's Tommy Brandon. He's in a battle, or was in a battle with Chris Hudson. He's trying to make his way up. He is on a lap fresher tires than our race leader, 10 lap fresher tires than our 3rd place, and 4 lap fresher tires than the driver sitting in 4th. But he's 2.3 seconds back, and he's actually losing time, Derek, from what he was in the early going as the lap times have started to fall off substantially here.
I remember when he came out of pit road, he instantly went in and stamped on the fastest lap and put his name on that board at the moment. So we saw that happen instantly, but now it looks like he's having a little bit of hard time there. And let's see if he can hold on to this here. Let's see, he's now going to try to rip that top lane here. So that's the challenge being up there, is it is faster and there's grip up there. But if you lose that car a little bit, you'll scrub the wall and you'll kill any momentum that it does give you here as we work beginnings of lap 92 here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. A great race here for the PRL Cup Series here. And right now, Abner Acosta, I would think these drivers now, Terry, are within 10 laps. Acosta, Dinkle, Daniels, O'Brien, Brandon, Hudson, all in back. Probably back through 9th, except for Luis Rodriguez. These drivers are now within, I think, 10 laps of their final pit stop.
Would you go on a limb here with the 77 who did pit at the lap 50 mark? He actually pitted lap 49, which would be this time by if he was going to come down and enter the pit lane for his 2nd and potentially final stop of the night. But now he crosses the line. He puts 50 on the board on his tires. Do you think he's the first domino to fall inside this top 3? And now we get it in our ear. Here comes the 77. Called it, man. It's like I'm in his head.
Like you're in his head. Scary place to be, maybe, for him to have you there. But that worked out for you. Good job. He did call it out and is going to make that pit stop down. If we can take a look at Joshua Daniels, right here we are. And in that Dirt Devil looking car. So let's see. He called it. Man, that's a late. Man. Did he back out of it? Because I don't know. I noticed says he was going to the corner. There's a certain place you have to be in the corner to safely make pit road, and that was not it. You can't be there. So we'll get that call probably next time by, and make it happen here. So yeah, let's keep on the screen here.
So you take a look right here at the 4th place driver. That's Waldo Walden in the 84. He just got passed by Tommy Brandon to move him back 1 position. All of our drivers did cycle through pit lane. 18th, 19th, and 20th was where they were being slotted. Now they'll slide back a little bit further. Trent Dinkle will be slotted in the 18th position coming off of the pit lane. Joshua Daniels 20th and 21st. For Lou Christian, Pat Harvey will be 22nd. That's all 1 lap down drivers. 17 still remain on the lead lap. Brian Dixon being your final one at the moment. We have more drivers wanting to come down pit lane here. So a lot of drivers get ready to come down. Tristan Callahan is coming in this time. He just entered the pit lane. Abner Acosta's coming down. That's your race leader. James O'Brien will not pit. So 47, make that now 48 laps on James O'Brien's tires. We'll see who plays the strategy to perfection. Luis Rodriguez, don't forget, just 30 laps ago came down pit lane at the lap 66 mark. So not looking to be an issue on his part. Where was he running? Do we remember where he was running before he decided to go off sequence? Because I don't believe he was inside the top 10. This could be a massive net gain for the number 7 machine.
It could indeed. That'll be the question to look at all night long, is to see what he gets out of it. Of course, he's going to start to climb up the board as pit stops begin and continue here for these drivers. So we'll see how this plays out. Most drivers pitting right as we called it on the 50-50 strategy, and trying to make this a shorter run towards the end. Here you see Pat Harvey here, a brand new parent last season. Terry, him and his wife had a baby, and now he's out here racing again in that familiar, you want to call that seafoam green? You have a name for that?
More of a teal look, I would say, in that one. And congratulations to the new baby. Mine was actually screaming about 20 seconds before I walked back here to put the headset on. So I understand. I feel your pain 100%. Mine is asleep, I hope, when I come out of this.
If I had Terry Radford for a father, I'd be screaming too. I can understand the pain involved right there.
She's cool. She likes to relax. But you take a look at the strategy still being played here. You take a look at... I'm not going to try to butcher this name. I believe it's Vicente Sepulveda.
I like how you said I'm not going to try to butcher the name, and then what you tried, and then you just, well, let me go ahead and try it anyway.
Did I butcher it?
I don't think so. I think you got it right.
I think I said it right.
I think that's like the "I'm not going to be a jerk but" comment.
But
I don't
yeah, well,
jerk, but that but means but I'm going to anyways.
I'm going to do it regardless. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You take a look here at what will be your overall race leader once he clears Trent Dinkle, which he will here based off of the tire strategy that we have had. So put Abner Acosta back to the provisional lead of the race. Now we are still waiting for the other dominoes to fall. McKenzie is going to come down here. That's the 51. Jose Medina comes down pit lane here. Brian Dixon comes down as well. That leaves 2 drivers that are out here on strategy. And Luis Rodriguez takes the lead. And what happened to Jose? He pits. So now it's a 18-second lead for the number 7. How long can he go? Do you want him to go as far as he can, or should he come down and cut his ties now and go 38, 39 laps?
I think, to use the old analogy, he's made his bet. He's going to have to lie in it. He's going to have to just see what happens. Now maybe he's the one rooting for the caution, so that, or a set of cautions. Maybe the set of cautions. I mean, we're pretty ahead on time. It's hard to think we get enough cautions to shorten this race, but weirder things have happened. But right now, Luis Rodriguez, I mean, you're right. I think he's going to have to pit again. I don't see a world where he runs this to the end. He's going to have a shorter pit stop because he's going to do fuel only and just a dash of gas to get to the end. But I don't see how he doesn't give up that lead. So this will be a net positive. Listen, it is a net positive for Luis because we're talking about him. He's put himself in a position of prominence throughout this race. He's put himself in a spot on the broadcast. He's put himself in a spot of name recognition. And sometimes that's what you need, is to be out there and just make a name for yourself and try something different. Even if this doesn't work, he'll take away some notes for next time about how to improve on that strategy.
Yeah, this will be entertaining to say the least. He's holding it at bay at 20 seconds. Now, you see the drivers that are going around him on the bottom side of the racetrack. Those are fresher tires. They are getting their lap back in comparison to him. At this very moment, you see Brian Dixon going around him. Brian Dixon's no slouch in this race. Yes, he's 22nd, but there is a caveat to this. That's based off of the strategy call that has been played around here. Some drivers short pit, some took the long game. Brian was one of the ones for Bowie Motorsports that took the longer route in this race. Fastest lap now being set by Chris Benson. That was a 30.935. That was a flyer around here. Hopefully he doesn't make the same mistake that the 11 made down the road and burn the tires up that early in the run, and then starts to fall off a little bit different. But he's back at the 13th position. But this is going to be entertaining. We have 35 laps to go around the 2008 scan of the Atlanta Motor Speedway for race 1 of season 1 for 2024 season of the Cup Series here for the PRL. You can catch the PRL all week long, barring Friday and Saturday, with the MX5 series. You have the F4, the Grand National, the Truck Series as well, and then you obviously have the Cup Series that races on Sundays. New fastest lap, Jose Acosta goes even better with a 30.916, and now with 34 laps to go, the 7 made his bed. I think he's pretty content. He's only lost 3 seconds in 5 laps.
Yeah, pretty well so far holding on there. And you see Jose Acosta on your screen, the Georgia native. As we said, racing live in his room with his brother Abner tonight. I saw a picture of their setup before the race went live, and they're about 6 inches apart. So if there's any arguments to be had tonight, they can duke it out old NASCAR style, I guess. Just settle it right there. Now we're going to look at Trent Dinkle on screen as Jose just put down another fastest lap again. So Jose is burning it up here towards the end of this race here at Atlanta.
I think it would be fun to see the onboard camera for Jose and Abner sitting side by side with one another, just in case if they would have gotten some type of accident tonight, who was throwing hands first. Was Abner going to be the one to punch him, or was it going to be Jose that reached over and punched first? We'll never know. I guess we'll have to ask.
Or do you do an old NASCAR style where you don't throw a punch, you throw helmet, or water bottles, or whatever, right? So, but what can kind of coach them on joining the webcam call next week so we can see if they're set up like that again. But this is a great four-car battle, easy for me to say. That's Abner Acosta, Trent Dinkle, Joshua Daniels, and James O'Brien. This is really probably the proverbial fight for the lead. Currently it's not, but I don't see a world where Luis Rodriguez holds on for the rest of the lap. So as they're running right here, this will eventually be the fight for the lead before this race is over, unless a caution comes out. Now, at this point, Luis Rodriguez is probably begging for one, because everyone would come down right here and he could hold on to the lead.
I think as many times as you said the C word, you're wanting one to come out as well. I would throw out that you're trying to throw that curse. We have strung out very, very well in this race. We had the 3 packs that formed up in the early going of this race, and then we broke down into just single file racing where some of the cars were on the backstretch and some was on the front. We only have 11 cars, is what it's showing on my timing screen, on the lead lap all the way back to Jose Acosta in that 42. Tristan Callahan on back, -1 on the stopwatch. So I don't know.
I think that'll increase a little bit as these drivers continue to return faster laps than Luis. But you're right. I mean, there's not that many cars in the lead lap. That would be the other question mark. Would be if it does happen. How many lap down cars stay out to get their lap back, or how many value the tires. All the what ifs that would go on. I'm not hoping for it, but I mean, it would bring a little bit of strategy and conversation into the mix here if it does. But right now, I'm curious to see how much longer Luis can hold on to this. That's my fascination, because realistically, that number's down to 13 seconds now. It's starting to decrease, but frankly, not as fast as I thought it was going to.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the lap times. I mean, he's just roughly 9/10 of a second off, but he's also running the wall. So if you think about it, he's not running the faster-ish line around this racetrack, or what you would say the traditional line would be, which is right there on the bottom, hugging the line, trying to get the most speed out of it center off. He's running right up against it. Granted, he's burning a little bit more fuel, but is he saving the tires per se in this race? Is he able to continue on what he's been able to do? It's 11.7 seconds now, and it's closing. It's actually going down rather quickly. I mean, it wasn't going down this way when he was in traffic, but now that he's gotten to clean air, Abner's gotten to clean air, Trent, Joshua Daniels, James O'Brien, all single filed out now, you're starting to see it about a half a second to a second a lap that Abner's been able to put on him.
That little 4-car choo-choo train is a-coming. Now, if you're Luis Rodriguez, the best thing that could happen for you is that Trent and Abner, or maybe Abner, any of these four, I should say, would get into a 2-car battle in side-by-side racing. That would slow down this pack. It would decrease the rate at which they're closing that gap here. So as long as they stay single file and they stay in line, they're drafting, they're helping each other, and they're running him down. He needs them to get frisky here, and he needs them to realize, hey guys, we're racing for the lead. Like, you know, we don't just want to give it to Abner. So he is begging for something for them to start racing here and realize that they're racing for the win.
Race 1 and frisky has already been thrown on the table. Top that, Dylan Coyle, when you come back, if the racing is not as frisky as it was race 1, we have a problem. I'm sure Dylan will go back and re-watch this race to set himself up for round 3 when they head over to the, I believe, the Darlington Raceway. But 9.5 seconds separates your race leader from Luis Rodriguez to Abner Acosta, and then the fight's on. 3rd, 4th is right there. 5th, all the way back there on your shot. He was just entering the back straightaway as the drivers was about a quarter of the way down. How long out of the 51 laps that the 7 has been on this racetrack on this set of tires does he stay out, or do we get the caution you've been talking about? Because these drivers, they're not playing too nice. Oh, I believe that was Hudson there. Hello. In the 43. That didn't look fun.
No, that did look fun. That looked like a nice little bit of contact with the 248 and the 43. And I think that's that Lou right behind him, I think that was. But no, I mean, right now, Luis Rodriguez has got to be just about out of everything. It can't be too much longer before he brings it down pit road. And in fact, he is on pit road. As I said that out loud, I see him down on pit road. The number 7 has pitted. So now Abner Acosta will assume the lead this time by.
Okay, so he's going to take 4 tires and fuel.
That is not what... Oh, no, only left side tires.
That's an interesting call.
Yeah, I would. If I was going to do 2 tires only, I would have done the right sides. I knew it would be a 4-tire stop because you don't need enough gas to justify 4 tires. My whoa. Okay, now we're being told maybe he did do 4. We were told maybe we missed the first 2 on the live camera shot. That's confusing if he did 4, Terry, because with how little gas he should have needed to finish this race, he didn't need to be on pit road that long.
Well, the fact that in the first pit stop he took, he dropped clear outside the top 20. He only fell to 16th there. And he's not necessarily too far off of Rafael Franco in the 36. So I would see him climbing up as much as possible here to get to the front. He should be at a rapid pace, 20 laps to go. The question is going to be, did Trent Dinkle now, did he save tires riding behind Abner Acosta? Are the teammates going to play nice with one another? I think we can very much be safe to say that Trent, he can be aggressive when he wants to be, right?
Yeah, he and Abner don't always play nice together. Despite being teammates, they've had their fair share of bumps and bruises. Oh, yellow's out. We have a car.
Oh, and this is going to be the greatest strategy call for the 7 of Luis Rodriguez in his first start of this season. I believe the first start in the PRL. So Trent Dinkle was involved in this accident, and I could imagine how mad he is, because now
I'm pretty sure we're going to see him get loose by himself here, by the way.
Everybody else is going to come down pit lane because they have 20 plus laps on their tires. Luis Rodriguez, a total of 1 green flag lap on those Goodyear Eagles.
Sorry, my reactions from seeing what I think is going to be the cause of the caution. We'll see it here live. Sorry for the early reaction. Watch this here. Dinkel's going to get loose by himself, get it in the grass, and get it turned around here. This will be right here, probably about the moment of caution right here. But hold on, Terry. It's not over. He's going to sit right here in any minute now. There it is. That's what I saw early in a preview window, and I apologize for reacting live. But that's why the caution is definitely out, because someone, and I'm going to get a name for you in a second, but someone ran over.
Smoked him. Absolutely smoked him there.
It is going to be James O'Brien, for the record.
Yeah, and here comes the pit stops and lottie-dottie everybody. I don't expect to see the 7 come down pit lane. I would be surprised. I might fall out of my chair if I see him come down, and nope, he stays on the racetrack. So new race leader on our first caution flag of the evening. And what's that old saying? The gloves now come off, because the pay window just opened on who's going to win this race. We don't expect to see Trent Dinkel back on the racetrack, because I believe he definitely got a substantial amount of damage. There will be a lot of required that'll be there. He's on pit lane for now, make it 15, 16 seconds.
Yeah, you'll want to come back out for Trent Dinkel, though, with this new 9-race format. You need to come out here and get the points, because you might, with there being other unique tracks out there, you might want to use that drop week later. Watch this here. This is James O'Brien. What does he see here? All right. Oh, he doesn't see anything. There's a car in front of him. That's the 77. And by the time the 77 moves, hello. Oh, yeah, there's a car there. I didn't see that because it's 77. And I want to fix what I said. I said the drop week. I'm in old PRL format, Terry Bradford. There is no drop week. So you definitely have to come out here and get the points you can get, because there is no drop week anymore. So you have to come out with that damaged car and run these laps. And listen, maybe more calamity happens. Maybe, you know, you pick up 5, 10, 15 spots from it. We'll wait and see. But right now, as you said, it looks like Luis Rodriguez is once again your racer. Now, this will be a question of talent versus talent. The tire strategy's off. The fuel strategy's off. This is him and Abner, him and Josh Daniels, him and Waldo Walden. Now going to race just raw talent, and we'll see where Luis stacks up. Pardon me. I keep getting Luis and Lou Christian mixed up, and I got to stop doing that. But we'll see how they do here. So this will be a moment here and see how we turn out. Well, caution 1 finally happened at lap 124. This is almost the Bears-Packers game for those who saw it live today. They went up to the fourth quarter, before the first flag was thrown in the game today. I thought, man, we're going to repeat that.
I'm so glad you brought up the NFL, because for any Jacksonville Jaguar fan out there, as a Tennessee Titan fan, you're welcome for getting to sit and watch the playoffs just like we are. Glad y'all's season was just as miserable at the end as ours is, but they beat them today, so big deal. But to touch the topic we were talking early in the show, when it came to rule changes here in the PRL, one of them was what you alluded to start the show. There was one race before we kicked off the season here, and well, that's what made our drop week go away. So as you brought the NFL up into it, I'll use them as the analogy. As they added the 18th weekend, it pushed the Super Bowl back 1 week, but it also pushed the fantasy football leagues back 1 week. It pushed the playoffs back a week. It did the same thing here. So we pushed the season back, took one of the races and said, we'll non-broadcast it, just get used and familiar so that race 1 isn't a crapshoot with all of the brand new drivers that are racing in the PRL. Took that drop week that you've talked about and we hit on with Trent Dinkel. If you don't complete all the laps, you put yourself in a deficit towards the end of this season. And with this being the quote-unquote off-season for the iRacing official series, it definitely makes it a challenge, because we go to places that you never would imagine we would go to. Rockingham, back to this form of Atlanta, and then Iowa, and then, well, Long Beach. And you don't want to go into week number 6 with 3 weeks to go, which is Daytona, Atlanta, the new Atlanta, and Las Vegas, coming off of 2 bad races between Long Beach, which is a crapshoot, and here. But pace trucks down and in. Lap 126 will hit the board. Can Luis Rodriguez on the tire strategy play a factor? Green flags back in the air. It's the number 7 versus the 5 versus the 77 machine. Your pole sitter trying to hold it up here and get past Abner. Oh, he almost made contact and washed up the racetrack.
Wow, contact for second and third. Now Luis hit the wall. Added to lots of contact, but a great restart there for Luis Rodriguez. Got a great jump and quickly put up in front of Abner to help kill any momentum that Abner Acosta is feeling here as we're going to complete the first lap. Joshua Daniels will back it up here a little bit. We're seeing more wall scuffing back there. This may be the beginning of a wild and chaotic ending if these guys don't get it under control.
You talked about talent versus talent versus talent all the way through this field, right? iRating wise, and for fans that are watching that don't know the iRating sector, is you have to gain iRating and safety rating throughout every official race that you run. It's what builds your licenses up here in iRacing. Talk about the top 3 at the moment: 42-16, 50-29, 55-40. That bases it off of your license. They're all A-class licensed drivers to run in this series. And so now the talent is there. What the number 7 wants to see is what he sees right now in his rear mirror. He sees the 77 of Joshua Daniels challenging the 5 of Abner Acosta, putting the pressure on him, getting to that back bumper, that rear diffuser, and changing the aerodynamics of the back end of that race car to keep him from driving up there and making this a numerical race where the 5 would then trump the 7. He's hoping that the 7 can trump the 5 here as he goes all the way up to the top of the wall, and he's trying to make a lot of headway as he'll go down the back straightaway, and you'll see that gap extend as he carried a ton of speed as the 77 just put the fastest lap time on the board.
What the 7 can't see is what's happening well behind him, though, because people like Pat Harvey and Brandon Walter are using that pack to turn fast laps here and possibly try to get their way to the front here quickly. Look, there's Pat Harvey on the inside, that very obviously noticeable green car, trying to make moves. But look at this here. As you said, Abner Acosta, Joshua Daniels, Luke Christian, Jose Acosta. You could throw that blanket on him and they'd all be caught up in it. So Luke Christian's been a great job of staying out front here. But man, Pat Harvey is a commentary, Radford.
That he is. And here goes Joshua Daniels. He'll go to the inside of the private label team hype number 9. You got the battle as well going on behind it. Here comes Jose Acosta. He'll look under Luke Christian for the 4th place position. Showtime is now. Under 10 laps to go. 9 of them to be exact, around the 2008 scan version of the Atlanta Motor Speedway, live here for race 1 of season 1 for 2024. Track temp still sitting at 110 degrees. So if you're turning a fast lap, Luce is most definitely fast at this moment. You see the bottleneck happening there for 3rd. Oh, Joshua Daniels got loose. That's going to allow the 21 and the 42 to try to pounce here for 3rd.
It is indeed going to allow them to get up here. And I'll tell you what I'm thinking in my head, with those Acosta brothers sitting next to each other, if they could get lined up here and get a draft line moving, maybe they can help close the gap on the 7. I'm surprised that Abner hasn't moved down and picked up his brother here. Maybe he's going to do it here. Let's find out and see if they could get 2nd and 3rd lined up here. I'm surprised they're not communicating it a little bit better. And maybe Abner just feels better up at the top. Oh, Jose almost got to the side there of Luke Christian.
Yeah, they're definitely getting closer and closer to one another, not giving any room. There's no inches between it as Joshua Daniels tagged the wall going into the corner. Luke Christian's going to look to the inside. You got Trent Dinkles in the wall just a little bit. He's got Pat Harvey behind him. He's going to try to melee down to the floor. He's going to go all the way down to the bottom, down to the basement area of this racetrack to try to get around him. There's the 42. He went to the outside trying to get around Joshua Daniels in the 77, but, well, to no avail. Daniels closed it off for him, but now here comes Luke Christian. He saw the checkup that had to get made. We're about to go 3 wide, and oh yeah, by the way, all 5 now make it 6 cars. You could put them under a blanket as they're single file, nose to tail down the back straightaway.
By the way, it's worth noting as we come to the end of this race, we talked about Trent Dinkle having all that damage in that wreck that brought the first yellow out. He's up here in 7th. So we wondered if he was done or if he would have to take the hit and points, but he's still up there in P7, all things considered. So we'll see how that turns out here. But a few laps to go. Luis Rodriguez still holding on here with that battle, but that gap is closing. Abner's right there. Jose's below him. They're probably going to be 3 wide into turn number 3, Terry.
Well, if you are a fan of racing, you're a fan of what's going on right here, sit back, relax, grab yourself an ice cold Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Here comes the number 5 of Abner Acosta. He'll look to the low side in turns 3 and 4. They'll drag race it to the line. And the number 7, he still holds the lead. You talked about 3 wide going into 1. How about we go 2 by 2 for the top 4 positions? To the top side goes the 7 and the 77. The 5, the 42 goes to the bottom. Well, slide job there for 3rd and crossover move for the 7 as he goes back down to the bottom. It'll be 3 laps to go with across the line.
If they would have painted that car one more layer this morning, I think they'd made a contact right there. That's how close it was. I'll tell you that. Oh, a whole little bit of contact right there. That was Joshua Daniels in the back there. I think it was who that was. It made contact. That was Christian, or I'm not sure. But here we go, side by side again. The 7 and the 5. And,
he washed him up. He washed him up there, made a little contact there. The 77, the 42, the 21, the 84, all under a blanket, but they're chasing one man. The tire wizard, Abner Acosta, takes the race lead. He'll come down here to the line. It's the Acosta and Acosta show. The 7 made contact with the 84 of Waldo Walden. He'll slide back. Strategy over. Race not over, but the race for the win is over for him at the moment. He'll have to hold on for a top 10 position over Harvey, Kibby, and Dinkle, who sit here fighting there. But now we go back up to the front because it's brother versus brother, and they're inches away from each other at the moment. But does Waldo Walden help the 42 get around the 5? 2 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line now.
42 has to help that, or excuse me, Waldo has to help the 42. That's the only way he's going to get up there is by helping Jose Acosta. You can see Jose running the exact same line as his brother, both top of the track. You're trying to find all that grip. And it makes me wonder if Waldo Walden will try to dive it into one of these corners and get up under Jose here. There it is.
And so here we go through turns 3 and 4 for the second to last time. Acosta washed up just a little bit for second. Here goes Waldo Walden. He'll have Luke Christian push him. White flags in the air. 1 lap to go around the 2008 version of the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's Acosta, Waldo Walden, Luke Christian, top 3. Fight is for their big wreck behind, but it doesn't matter. There's no safety measures at all, but that's half the field collected. They'll go down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4 for the final time for race 1 of the 2024 season. And off of turns 3 and 4, open up the history books. Abner Acosta wins again in the PRL. What a race. What a barn burner.
I know it's not the exact context, but all I can come in my head is that lyric from the Who song, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Abner Acosta wins again.
Yeah, no surprise. Abner Acosta doing what Abner Acosta knows how to do, and that's win races here at the most challenging tracks that tears the tires up each and every week. He finds a way to get it done, and it was almost a brother versus brother affair, but it turned out to be Waldo Walden in the 84 having one of his best finishes, and I believe potentially his career best finish in the PRL, coming home in the 2nd place position. And what a victory this would be for the number 5 as he just tallies it up. Him and Bradley Holly kind of been in the same ballpark when it comes to the most wins in PRL history. And then you started adding in Richard Regan Jr. You started adding in Trent Dinkle into the measure. The ladder, the level of competition keeps going higher and higher. We'll take a look at our race results here after 140 laps around the famed Atlanta Motor Speedway. Abner gets it done in the 5. Waldo Walden, Jose Acosta, your top 3. We will talk to them drivers momentarily. Luke Christian coming home 4th, your pole sitter. Back there in the 5th place position with Chris Hudson, Pat Harvey, Chad Kibbe, Brandon Walter, and Rafael Franco, your top 10.
Moving back through P11's Tommy Brandon with Trent Dinkle back in 12th, Mackenzie Roos 13th, with James O'Brien, Jose Medina rounding out your top 15, then Tristan Callahan and Scotty Johnson, and Luis Rodriguez with a crazy last 4 or 5 laps finishes back at P18 with Chris Vinson on P19, and in your first car 1 lap down in P20 is Devin Maines.
Rounding out the rest of your field, we start to get into one car in the used car lot, but Brandon Fetter place, Brian Dixon, Vicente Sepulveda is 23rd, Park Hilliard, Bruno Mello, Ben Laughter, Eric Olivia, and Gary Turner. Your 28 cars that finished around here. Brandon Walter was your fastest lap on that second to last caution that we had. We'll await our top three. I believe we have our second place driver, Waldo Walden, in tow. And never mind, as I say that, our race winner is going to join us here. We'll grab Abner Acosta, move him up to us. And Abner Acosta, win number, I've lost count for you in the PRL. What a race that was. What was going through your head on that last restart, where it was you versus the 7, and you had to hold off all of the host of drivers behind you to solidify your win here this afternoon?
Yeah, it kind of sucked. I felt like I had the race in the bag, and then the caution, I'm sure it was exciting for you guys, but it was stressful for me. And as you know me, I usually go for long runs, so I didn't have a lot of experience like just going all out. So I just kind of had to adapt there at the end, but glad I was able to barely pull it off. Yeah.
Well, so we were hitting the story as we thought Jose Acosta was going to be there right with you first and second and racing you for the race lead. I hear tonight it's kind of special. You're racing inches away from him. Did you go over and mess with his wheel a little bit and try to keep him from fighting you down?
No, I can hear him screaming and everything right next to me. When he got to second, I was like, all right, that's it, you don't need no more positions. You're good. But yeah, and it's kind of cool that he's here. He was here for the holidays, so I think he leaves tonight. So,
well, it's good that he got to race with you. Glad that the internet was able to hold up for 2 systems racing simultaneously, where most people can't even get one to work. But how cool is it to start a new season off in the right direction? You get the race win, obviously have some very favorable tracks for you here on the schedule, and I'm sure you circled week 6 at Long Beach as one for you, but what other racetrack in the 9-week schedule we have that you would pinpoint to go, hey, I'm really fast here, I think I have a good chance to get win number 2?
I don't know. I actually haven't looked at the schedule too much, but I actually have not raced Long Beach in iRacing. I don't even own it, so I know it's disappointing, but so I'm gonna actually need to practice quite a bit for that. So
it's a road course, Abner. You're gonna be fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna jot that down in our notes here, so when Dylan does come back, I'll say Abner said he didn't own the track week 1, and if you win it, I'll make sure he asks that question at the end of it. It's like, hey, you didn't own it week 1. What happened? Like, how much did you learn going into this race? I own the track. If you need bad pointers, just come ask me.
All right, I'll hit you up after the interview.
Yes, sir. Well, congratulations, Abner, on win number 1 and adding to your illustrious iRacing career over here in the PRL. Best of luck the rest of the season. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, before I help out here real quick, I just want to thank Private Label Team Hype, everybody that, practices and does all this stuff. My brother for bullying me this week for doing 3 official races, which I wrecked out in all of them, but I guess that helped me win today. And you guys at RaceSpot for broadcasting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's race winner here for Private Label Team Hype, Abner Acosta. And Derek Watson standing by with our second place driver, Waldo Walden.
Waldo, what a great run tonight. What a crazy finish for what I think, and you can correct me, is probably your career best in PRL. So congrats on that.
Yeah, I actually won one, but
okay.
I would take this as probably my best finish since it was a plate race I won at. So yeah, it's definitely my best finish.
So walk us through the last lap or two. Lots of chaos happens. The 7 gets loose and loses a bunch of spots, and there's contact everywhere. What was your strategy for those last couple? Were you just holding on for dear life and almost team no lift, or what was going on?
Yeah, I was throwing some prayers in there, and luckily they stuck. We only had like 15 lap old tires, so I was a little confident, but it was a little. But it was the last couple of laps. But when I saw Jose, I don't know what happened. He was on my outside, and like he slipped or something, and and that's what gave me second. But yeah, it was crazy, definitely.
No, a great run tonight here at Atlanta. So this schedule is very, I guess the word I'll use is eclectic. We got Darlington, Iowa, Long Beach, other tracks, auto clubs on the schedule. Is there a track you're either most looking forward to or most not looking forward to?
Oh, Long
in the
Beach.
last 8 weeks?
By
Long
far.
Beach, okay. All right. Well, so I don't know if you heard, we just talked to Abner. He says he doesn't even own the track yet, so maybe you guys have a leg up on him for once.
No, not at Abner. At that place, I highly doubt it.
All right, fair enough. Listen, well, great job tonight. Glad to see you up in P2, and we will see you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's Waldo Walden, driver of the 84 machine, finishing P2 here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And then last but not least, let's get the other half of the Acosta brothers, Terry.
Yeah, we'll grab Jose Acosta up here. Jose coming home P3, and I would imagine being that close to Abner in the real world, sitting that close to him, you were taking notes throughout the race on how to get around here. What was the biggest challenge that you saw here at Atlanta tonight?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm in my phone tonight. Oh man, what a race! My hand's still shaking. But I was still hitting that gas pedal. I was still turning left. It was exciting at the end, man. Right now, my blood is rushing all over my veins. So if you can ask me a question again, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to jump in after the question here real quick, and then I'll let Terry finish. So you sent me a photo of you and Abner in the same room right before broadcast went live. What people don't know, and I don't know your normal rig, but you raced on a wooden desk and a wooden chair tonight. Can you tell me how you sat through 140 laps of Atlanta in a wooden chair and finished P3?
The tip that I'm going to give you is just put a lot of oilman paint on your back, take 2 Tylenols, and you're good.
Fair enough.
I'll remember that when I buy a new set, right? So in all actuality, we talked a couple seasons ago when you finished in the top 3 at Charlotte, and I said, is this going to be the year that you kind of come out? Because we were finishing the season at Charlotte, you ran very well. I thought that the very next season you would be the breakout driver of that season. Coming into this one, this is probably one of the hardest racetracks we're going to go to all season long based off of tire wear, the heat, and just the competitive spirit of this racing surface. Is this going to be the season that the 42 of Jose Acosta comes out and potentially wins a race and potentially finishes top 3 in the points?
I'm expecting both, man. I mean, I know last season we had a bunch of road courses, and that kind of like messed me up a little bit. But this season there's not a lot of road courses, so I guess that I got that going on for me. And I don't know, next week is what, Rockingham, so that's definitely a new track. I'm not sure if it's the old Rockingham or the new one with new pavement, but I feel a little bit confident because there's not a lot of road courses, so I think I'll be fine no matter what. If I finish 3rd, 2nd, or who knows, 1st or 5th, whatever, I'm still playing the game with everybody here. It's fun to race with everybody, so that's basically what matters.
Well, congratulations on your P3 finish here tonight. We'll see you at Rockingham next week to see if you could potentially finish 2 spots higher and maybe be the second Acosta to win this season.
Yeah, and he said that I was screaming. Nah, he was screaming all race, not me.
We'll take the brotherly action next week, but congratulations, and that's going to do it for us tonight, Derek. Any final thoughts coming out of Atlanta heading on to Rockingham next week?
I'll tell you what, if Rockingham is half the race that Atlanta was, we're in for another fabulous race next week. Next week could be more bumps, some more bruises, and a tighter racetrack. So I think there'll be a couple more upset drivers next week than there was this week. So Rockingham is next week, 1 week from tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on RaceSpotTV. Terry, you're here next week with me, and then we put you, I want to say out to pasture, but that's not the right words I want here. So I guess next week.
Yeah, we put me back on the shelf again. Don't forget, you can join the PRL action right here on RaceSpot tomorrow night, and again on Tuesday night for week 1 of those 2 series. Week 2 for the Grand National and the Truck Series picks back up. You can catch us next week, like we talked about, Rockingham for the Cup season for round number 2 for Derek Watson and Mike Yao. I'm Terry Radford. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you around the track.